Okay, we're live. So yeah, I'm going to try the intro because I kept kind of stumbling over my words. When I was doing it, I kept rewriting it because I like when I write the intros, it's like I write them. It's like the way I talk and the way I write are different. Does that make
Yeah,
any sense? I mean, I'm sure you're probably the same way.
absolutely.
So like when I write it, it's like it's like I'm using that filter, but then when I'm like reading it out loud, I'm like, I would never say this.
Right.
you know. All right, so um, I have to do my exercises. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Our guest this time around was the guitar player in San Francisco punk band Complaints, which released records on both Modern Action and No Front Teeth Records in early to mid 2000s. But I first met him when I interviewed him with his band Livids. Oh. Okay, let me start over. Take two. All right. And I have livid written here. Our guest this time around was the guitar player in the San Francisco punk band Complaints, which released records on both Modern Action and No Front Teeth Records in the early 2000s. But I first met him when I interviewed him and Livid's bandmate Eric Davidson back in 2013, and he was such a nice guy that we've stayed in contact on and off ever since. But these days, he's fronting his own no frills punk band called Moral Panic. When he first sent me Moral Panic's first record, I was absolutely blown through the back window, and I've been a huge fan ever since. Moral Panic released their self-titled debut LP back in 2017 on Slovenly Recordings. Their second self-titled LP was unleashed upon the world a couple years later in 2019, this time on Germany's famed Alien Snatch Records. Both LPs were released to much acclaim due to Moral Panic's unique brand of sledgehammer swinging punk with echoes of straight up rock and roll running in the margins. And Moral Panic is getting ready to release a brand new 7-inch on Rebellion Music that's sure to peel the skin right off your face all over again. This is the Daniel Kelley episode.
Right.
When every day's feeling like a Monday morning, staying out late, kinda gets boring. Do what you wanna when you wanna do something now. I'm getting older by day, younger at night. I need a little something to feel alright. Yeah, do what you wanna when you wanna do something now. Yeah, you do what you wanna when you wanna do something now. Chances are you've made some choices by not hearing your inner voice.
All right, that one sounded pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
Take 17.
Yeah, you took your time with it. It
Yeah.
usually pays off.
You know, I learned that from you. Like I see, like I feel like when I read the intros, I rush through them, and then I notice you kind of like take your time and read it thoroughly, and that's kind of what I did. So thank you, Josh.
Yeah, it sounded real good.
Cool, man. Thanks. Well, let's get Daniel in here then.
All right.
Okay.
Daniel Kelley, thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. So how are things in New York City?
They're fine. New York is kind of forgetting that COVID existed. It's very weird here. I do work like an office job, and I don't know. You've got your people that want to wear a mask, which is me, and then your people that don't, which is a lot more of me. And yeah, it's strange. New York is kind of weird now. It's sort of back to normal, but not. Yeah, I mean, I saw 7 Seconds and Negative Approach last week.
Nice.
That was really fun, but weird. Like,
was that the first show you've been to in a while?
Yeah, it was. It was really great. There were a ton of people there. It was a small venue. They were supposed to play with the Circle Jerks. Keith Morris got COVID, canceled that, so they like found a small venue, and it was totally fun. And it did kind of feel like, oh, this is, warm weather, New York. Everyone's out, a lot of energy, but still kind of weird.
Yeah. Arizona, I don't know if they ever really believed in COVID. I think they that few people did, but for the most part, no. But I do want to say this. A few years ago, I saw Off and Power Trip and Negative Approach, and Negative Approach still fucking brought it home.
Negative Approach was just brutal.
Yeah.
They were just angry and tough. I really appreciated seeing that. Like 7 Seconds is like, I love you guys. Like, I love everyone. Let's love each other.
Satragaha.
Yeah. and I really like 7 Seconds, but yeah, Negative Approach is just like, fuck you. Like, we're gonna play this set and drink a bunch of Miller Lights, and which they did. They were great. They were super, like, both bands were really good. But yeah, that's like the first show I've been to in a while. Like, real show. Crowded show. It was fun.
Yeah. Last week I saw the Chats and Mean Jeans here again in a small venue. Friggin' packed.
I cannot believe how popular the Chats are. I like that song Smoko. I had no idea that they were like a big band.
Yeah, they're pretty huge. Apparently that video Smoko kind of went viral, and in Australia, I guess they've opened for like Foo Fighters and like arena bands out there, but their live stuff is they play it like 100 times faster.
Yeah.
And it sounded pretty. They did a cover of Borstal Breakout, Shem 69.
Really?
Yeah, and it's actually sounded pretty cool. But yeah, they're way different live than their.
Well, it makes me think of Amel and the Sniffers too. Like, they were just on national television like last night. Like,
yeah,
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, they're on Seth Meyers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I like both those bands, but I'm just surprised that they're that big now.
I know, it gives me hope.
For Moral Panic?
Well, yes, of course. You're next.
Moral Panic could be on the Tonight Show.
Yeah, we're gonna extend. We're gonna, with all of our powers, we're gonna try to make it so.
All right. Love that.
So, Daniel, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about your history in music, because a lot of people came to know of you in 2013 because that was the year of Livids and you were taking the world by storm. But you've been around longer than that. So you tell us a little bit about the bands you were in before Livids.
Sure. Before Livids, I was in 3 different bands in the Bay Area in San Francisco. I had a band that I started in my dorm room called Dead Ringers, which I have a lot of 7 inches still in New York that no one have bought. We were kind of like a Dead Boys worship sort of band. I think that's like the best way to describe it.
I think I remember that band. I think I have at least one of the 7 inches.
We had two. So, okay. Awesome. If you want more, let me know.
Actually, I may hit you up on that.
Yeah, so I was in that band, and then I was an intern at Fat Records, and obviously, like, I think you guys know from the kind of bands that I play in, we don't really sound like Fat Records, but I made a lot of friends there. Me and one of the people that worked there, we started a band called The Complaints, and it was me, a guy that worked at Fat Records, and someone from Swing and Utters. And it was kind of like a a street punk band, if you
I
will.
remember that band as well.
All right. So yeah, played in that band, and then after that, I got recruited to play in this band, the Revolts, which was Spike Slauson from Me First and Gimme Gimmes and Swingin' Others. Played guitar for them, did a tour with them with the Cute Lepers, who I absolutely love.
Yeah.
And then I was in a band called the Paper Bags with members of the Radio Reelers. If anyone knows who they are. And yeah, we literally wore paper bags on our face when we played.
I didn't know that. I knew the 7-inch like looked like a paper, like it was in a paper bag, right? Or it was a paper bag.
No, we like literally wore paper bags on our faces when we played. I recorded a 7-inch with them. We played a few shows. It was fun, and then I upped and moved to New York, and I had some mutual friends who got me in touch with Eric Davidson, and Livids kind of started that way. And I wrote most of the songs, but we kept like going through different rhythm sections, and we finally, like, the stuff that we actually recorded, we got Greg Collins, who he was in this band Radio 4 that was like on a major label, and he was a phenomenal drummer, could just like do anything. And we got Joy, who was in Paul Collins' Beat, and it was very short, but we were a good band, very good band, I thought.
Killer band.
Yeah, fantastic. I'll even go so far as a phenomenal band.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely phenomenal band.
Anyway, so yeah, man, freaking Livids was fantastic. So let me ask you, Daniel, who can you remember, like, what or who got you listening into punk rock? Like, can you remember like what the like your gateway band was to the underworld of seedy rock and roll?
For sure. It was definitely the Clash. I just I found out about the Clash, and then I just kind of went in every direction, like finding out how the Clash became the Clash, and then the bands influenced by the Clash. And also, like, when I was growing up in Los Angeles, that was like the kind of music that was out there. Like, there wasn't any of this garage stuff. New Bomb Turks were not there. None of that was there, but I just kind of got like really into that kind of street punk stuff. And the Clash definitely was the catalyst for that. I love the Clash. Every album, even that horrible rap album that they did, I still find a way to like it.
Yeah, man. What's that?
That's how it started. And also, Punkorama Epitaph Records had Punkorama TV that would come on at like midnight, public access in, I don't know, 2000, 2001. And I would watch that every fucking Friday. I was just like drawn. It's like the Refused were on it. New Bomb Turks were on it. Unfortunately, Pennywise was on it. Those kind of like they're heavy hitters were on there, and I would just watch their music, and it's like, wow.
And so, were they like videos or like live performances? Or
it was a mix. It was a mix of like music videos and live performance. Like,
that's pretty cool.
The bigger bands on Epitaph would have music videos. The smaller bands would have live performance. But yeah, I would like religiously watch that. And I just, I kind of soaked it all up like a sponge. And then from there, I'd be like, what is this band influenced by? And what are they influenced by? And I would just keep going and going and going and going. And yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So you did the digging. Like, you didn't have like cool older sister or cool older brother.
I did not. I did not at all. I like to dig, and I kind of, I was like, oh, I like this band. Who are they influenced by? And it just went back farther and farther and farther. And yeah.
Yeah. Reading liner notes, you know. And,
Oh, totally.
yeah.
Totally. I mean, I'm a total nerd like that. I'm curious, like, how did they get to this place?
Hey man, you're in good company on this podcast.
I figured as much.
Yeah, those were the days before the internet, when it was actually like cool to see like punk rock bands on television, however you got to see them, or read about them in magazines, or you actually had to buy records to hear bands. Pretty
Totally.
exciting.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, I can definitely think of it's like growing up in Los Angeles, all the bands that I love would play at the House of Blues like every weekend. I saw so many stabbings at adolescent shows and TSOL shows. The Orange County fans that would come are so violent. But it was so great to see all these bands that I would like read about and like, wow, they started this. Oh, I can go see them like Friday or Saturday. You know, X, Circle Jerks. I mean, I saw them all a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, that was my foundation.
Advantages to growing up in California, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like Southern California, definitely a huge advantage. Very accessible. Very accessible.
So I wanted to talk about Moral Panic.
Yeah.
There was obviously some similarities between Moral Panic and Livids. Anybody that liked Livids would certainly like Moral Panic. But I'm just interested in hearing your perspective on maybe the differences between the bands and how, when you started Moral Panic, how it was obviously a clean break from Livids.
Yeah, it's very different from Livids. Like Eric is his kind of lyrics that he does, they're more positive. I think they're more just like funny and like positive, happy-go-lucky. So like I never wanted to be a singer. I wanted to keep playing with the rhythm section that I had, and we looked for singers, and finally it was like, God damn it, I'm gonna be the singer. Like I don't want to be the singer, but I'm gonna be the singer. And my stuff is much more just like the trials and tribulations of my everyday life, things that piss me off and annoy me. And Eric's very different from that. Eric's kind of like not negative at all. I'm like super negative. I'm just like, fuck this, fuck that, like fuck you. And Eric's just kind of like, well, this sucked, and we're gonna figure it out and do. So yeah, did that answer that question?
I think that's a fantastic answer.
Okay, so this might seem like a silly question, but speaking of Moral Panic, you guys released the 2 LPs so far. What led you to the decision in having them both self-titled?
Absolute laziness. There is no good answer to that. Just other than like, who cares? Honestly, there's no good answer. I wish there was. But yeah, we did the first one, and again, like every record that Moral Panic has done, it's been like super thwarted. Like we record it and then it comes out a year and a half later. And the same thing happened with the first one. We recorded it thinking we recorded with the guy that recorded all the Livids records. And we thought like, oh, this is just going to be like a laugh, whatever. We'll do some demos. but it came out really good. We liked it. We had been practicing a lot, like that formation of the band, and I think we did 10 songs. We'd been really well rehearsed, and it just came out killer. So we released that with Slovenly, not thinking that Slovenly was going to do it. Initially, I had come to Slovenly. I was like, "Would you guys be interested?" And they were like, "No, we're not." And then Pete from Slovenly came to just randomly came to a show in New York, and he came up to me. He's like, "Hey, I actually do want to do this now." So we were like, "Okay, great." And then we did that, and then the next record, it's like the exact same thing. Like I recorded a bunch of these songs. I had no idea who was going to put it out. Daniel from Alien Snatch randomly approached me. I was like, "Sure, great. Someone wants to put out our music. Fantastic." And yeah, we just put no thought into it. Like I think kind of the Moral Panic aesthetic has been that we don't care. We're just like, whatever. It's great to play music. We don't put too much thought into our stuff. It's. I feel like most of our songs are just kind of general complaints about life, and having to come up with a name of an album, that's just too much for Moral Panic.
Well, that's cool, man. Let me ask you back to when you were talking about you becoming like the default singer of Moral Panic. You would think living in New York, there'd be like 100 candidates, but there just wasn't, huh?
We tried a couple people, and it just wasn't going to what I wanted it to be. And look, Eric Davidson is a really great frontman. It was really hard to like find someone that was even close to that. And I think we tried out 2 people, and they were both not good. Like they were people that I liked their bands, and I thought they were good in their bands, but they weren't good for Moral Panic. So I was just like, you know what? I've gotta do this.
Got to step up, huh?
Yeah, I gotta step up. Yeah. And I don't love singing, but you know, Moral Panic, I love the band, and it's great for me to like sing my songs. But I never thought I honestly I was never like, oh yeah, I want to sing in a band. But now I do.
Your vocals go good with it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I don't know. I was definitely very shy at first, but thankfully we have beer. But yeah.
But Moral Panic has just such a cool sound compared to so many other bands out there these days. Jay was talking about this in the intro, that you're playing like super fast, but it's also got that rock and roll sensibility, and it's classic American punk rock. So there's not like a lot of other bands that can be compared to Moral Panic. So I'm just wondering, from your point of view, what are some of like the key influences that make Moral Panic what it is?
Oh geez, there's so many. Yeah, it's interesting. Like in New York, the popular thing right now is kind of like bands that sound like Discharge.
Really?
Yeah, that's like really popular. I swear, like 1 million people show up to these kind of shows. Rock and roll kind of stuff, not so much. But yeah, I mean, I'm a huge music fan. I really am. I'm trying to think of like, I think kind of like the Beach Boulevard stuff.
Yeah, like the
That-
posh boy stuff.
yeah, the posh boy stuff, like that's my bread and butter. And I've always brought that kind of songwriting sensibility to people that have never heard that. And I think that's a lot of why Livids sound like Livids do, because not like Eric had never heard of that, but it's not what he was thinking. And it kind of adds like a little more melody and stuff. And yeah, God, I don't know. I like so much music. It's hard to say. I didn't answer that question at all, did I?
No, you did more or less. It's kind of like a melting pot of all your influences, all your tastes. Then I guess, right?
which is what makes it cool.
Yeah,
You don't have many bands, if any, that have that particular combination of influences.
There's definitely not like one band that I think like I want to sound like that one
Yeah.
band. You know, like I like a lot of bands. And I like a lot of bands that aren't punk. And yeah, I mean, yeah.
it comes out because I think that's why, you know, it's so unique sounding because I mean, you just said, you're not going to say, okay, we're going to be like the Pagans or Zero Boys or, it's like, yeah, you just poured your whole self into it. And that's why it sounds as unique as it does.
I love those bands, but I don't want to sound necessarily like those bands. I really do love those bands, but yeah, I mean, I know we've covered the Pagans. I don't know. I mean, I love the band. Uh, sometimes I think of the band when I'm like writing a song. Like, how can I rev this up? Yeah, I like to keep it open, and I think like I was just telling you guys about how a lot of popular bands in New York sound like Discharge. I would never want someone to be like, "Oh yeah, they sound like this band." I don't know. I want to be a little more broader than that. And I've always thought
Yeah.
that with Moral Panic. To me, like Moral Panic is not a punk band. We're a rock and roll band.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I can definitely see that. So let me ask you guys, or let me ask you, not you guys. During the pandemic, Moral Panic played a couple of shows from what it looked like your window, your doorway of your apartment. So how did that come about, and what kind of reception did that get?
So our drummer, Eric, not Davidson, Eric Roble, who used to play in the Candy Snatchers and Heroin Sheiks. He's played in a million bands. But that's his apartment. And we rehearsed there. And yeah, during the pandemic, we were just kind of bored and like, why not open up the windows and we did. And the reception was great. Tons of people came out. It was really fun. And this was a time when like no clubs were open.
Yeah.
Like that just was not an option. It was really fun. And it gave us an excuse to like get together to practice, get together to write songs, and then, play a show. And I have to say, the load in and out, that is so ideal. If you can be in the one place where it's upstairs and then downstairs and then you go home, that's my dream. Load in and out. But yeah, those shows were great. They were really fun.
It seemed like it was like you said, it was at a it was like the peak of the pandemic, and you guys were doing that. And it, like you said, there was no clubs, there was no shows, no nothing. And you guys started doing that. I was like, gosh, that's a really unique idea. So it's not something that like you guys announced, right? It's just, you just kicked open the doors and windows and just started playing to.
Yeah, we just kind of did it. Eric, the drummer, is an artist. So he would make all these like hand printed posters and stuff and put them all around the East Village in New York. And it was great, seriously, the first note we would play, people would just kind of be like, "Oh, what's going on?" And then just standing in the street, and it was great. It was really fun. I mean, now things are a little different. You can go to a show in New York. You can go into a bar in New York. You can do all these other things that you can do then. But when we were doing that, it was cool. It was fun. The energy was great. There were so many people that just like stopped by. We were on Reddit. Like we got a lot of views on Reddit apparently. People were just amped because there wasn't really anything else to do. And it was cool. It was fun. It was fun for us. It was a good time. And also we all work in, like, me, the bassist Mike, and the drummer Eric, we all work in film production. So we did like some very nice videos that we created ourselves that we put out there for people that were in New York to see. And yeah, that was a really good time. It's awesome.
Cool.
So you mentioned the second album and how Daniel actually just approached you with the idea of doing an album. Like, how did that actually happen? Did you just happen to have an album that you were working on at the time?
He actually emailed me like out of the blue, and I knew Alien Snatch, and I like Alien Snatch a lot. He just emailed me. He was like, "Hey, you should have put out your first album on Alien Snatch," which I kind of agree with him. I wish I had, but yeah, I mean, it just started from there. And the news here is we have a third album coming out that's going to be on Alien Snatch, and it's going to be a joint release of Alien Snatch and Reptilian Records. So we're going to have a US version and a European version.
Wow,
Ah, I did not know that.
that is exciting.
Yeah, we're not sure when it's coming out because COVID has really just fucked everything up with, when actual records will be delivered to record labels. We sent this record to Daniel in November. It's ready. It's done. We're just waiting for it to come.
Yeah.
We're hoping for like a July release. And yeah,
Oh, interesting.
it has a title. It's not Moral Panic.
Ooh.
Oh, sweet.
I'm gonna, you know what? When it's all like said and done, I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna reveal the title right now. But
Okay.
there is a title, and it's not Moral Panic 3.
So tell me about the EP White Knuckles. What can people expect from these new songs?
So the new songs have the new lineup. I've gone through a lot of different people for like a multitude of reasons, none of which are worth explaining, but I've known Eric Roble for a long time. He, drummed in Candy Snatchers, Born Loose, Heroin Sheiks. He's just a monster drummer. And then Michael Dimmitt, I've known because we would work together and we're like also in the same scene. He's a guitar player, but he's playing bass for us now. And we recorded the third record, Us, during the pandemic. And then we just kind of find out like, okay, so we send this out in November. It's not going to be done till like July. And we're just thinking to ourselves like, we have other songs that we've been working on. Like, let's just do a little EP. So we did it. We recorded it right after that. My good friends at Pirates Press in Oakland were able to help us get it, done quicker, pressed. And Eric Roble did the art himself. He hand pressed every single label.
Man.
Yeah, we helped. We tried to help, but he's he's a graphic artist and he did it. And yeah, we're just like, why not? Who cares? Like, we've got this album coming out, but we have other songs and there's so much time. So we did our own little 7-inch, and Eric put it out on his own label, Rebellion Records, which does he's got a couple other bands on there. I think he's got Candy Snatchers on there.
I think there's a Born Loose record, and
yeah, there's
right?
definitely Born Loose. And then, oh god, he's gonna be so mad at me if he hears this, but
I can cut it out if you don't want me to.
no, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I mean, that's how we got to where we're at.
So we can expect this this new album maybe this summer, and we will
Definitely
discover the title at a later date.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on the title till it comes out, but it's I'm very proud of the album. It's definitely not as like lo-fi as the other records we've done, but I'm so proud of the musicians that are on it. Like, Eric is such a monster drummer. Mike is such a great bass player, and the songs are I think it's really good. But it's different. It's not like a Goner Records sounding kind of thing. It's definitely a little more produced, but not too produced.
That's the sweet spot.
Yeah, I gotta.
I agree. I
Well,
agree.
man, you're making me excited to hear that.
Yeah.
So speaking of new LP, now that things are, kind of sort of starting to open back up, are there any plans or aspirations to tour for the new record?
I mean, so after I hooked up with Daniel from Alien Snatch, the whole point of that was for us to go to Europe, and then COVID. And I don't know, we don't really have any tour plans at the moment. We're gonna do like an East Coast tour in the summer. We have some friends from DC that want to go play with us, and we're gonna do a couple shows, like regional shows. But other than that, we don't really have any tour plans yet. But I'm hoping that now that things are maybe coming back to normal, that we go to Europe finally. I mean, that's our big plan.
Did Moral Panic tour the States or Europe before?
No, we haven't. I mean, we've played all over the East Coast. Again, pre-pandemic, we planned on like going to the West Coast, and that never happened. I mean, the most exotic place we played is Puerto Rico, which was very fun. We played with King Kana Barbecue and Personal Pizzas.
Oh, that's a sweet lineup there.
It was really fun. It's a good time.
It amazes me. Like, I always see all these bands, there's even bands from like California, and they'll be like, we're going to, I think like Crazy Squeeze. They're like, we're going to Europe. I'm like, fuck, man, you guys have never even played here, and we're only like, an 8-hour drive.
Well, I mean, that example, Johnny Whitmer knows his European people. I love Johnny Whitmer, by the way. I love the Stitches.
Yeah.
I love Crazy Squeeze. But yeah, I'm not surprised. He's got his Europe connections, so
yeah, it happens so much. Even like, like Seattle bands and Portland bands, it's
not anymore. Not anymore. I think it's like a whole new world with COVID.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I mean, I know that bands are still touring Europe. American bands are still touring Europe, but yeah, I don't think it's quite as easy as, don't get mad at me, Johnny Whitmer, if you hear this.
Well,
make a call and
I just saw Baby Shakes announce like a European tour. Speaking of New
Oh,
York.
did they?
Yeah, they're like have all these European dates. I'm like,
That's so
well,
funny because they're a New York band that never plays in New York.
yeah, it seems like they play like Japan a lot and Europe, and
They
yeah.
only play to play in Europe, which I respect 100%, but they never play in New York. Unless it's like I think I saw that they played with like not L7. They played with somebody big, like a girl band
Hmm.
that's big. They played at a big venue. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, they never play. They don't play unless it's really a good
Worth their
yeah.
while.
Which hey, that's great. I played so many gigs where I've at the end of it, it's like, why did I play this gig? I think that's smart. I honestly I think bands that have been around for a while, like they know the shows to play. And
Yeah,
it's
they know
taken
where the bread's
a while
buttered.
there for me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Jay and I do get excited when we have somebody on that we think might want to talk about the Pagans. To have a fellow fan, and
Sweet.
we're hoping that anybody who is listening to this who maybe doesn't know the Pagans will want to go out and then buy all the music. So I just want to know, Daniel, what's your, if you have a holy trinity of favorite pagan songs?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Not Now, No Way, definitely. I think that's a just monster song.
Yeah.
I Juvenile and Six and Change. That's my Pagans holy trinity. Have you guys ever seen the Pagans? Or like
No.
the incarnation?
No.
Mike Hudson was, before he died, he was playing with some version of the Pagans. I think like in the SoCal area. Eric Davidson like kind of knew him because they're both Cleveland guys, but I never got to see them. Yeah, the Pagans rule. They're great.
Wow. In Southern California, huh?
Yeah, he moved to SoCal, and I know that he had some version of the Pagans that were playing for a while
Wow.
till he died.
Wow. No, I did not know that.
Yeah, no, they were playing for a while. I've seen some clips of them. They were fine. They had two guitar players that looked like they were Guns N' Roses rejects. Just
Like
kind of
Sunset Strip dudes. Like
guys who have their shirts cut like down to here. They're punk shirts. And, doing lots of like windmills. But I don't know, it sounded okay. I would have loved to have seen that. But yeah, I've heard a lot about Mike Hudson that he was the character.
Interesting.
Great band though. Fucking great band.
Yeah. I never, I don't know what my mode of thinking is. Sometimes like I think some like these iterations of bands are going to be around for a while and then suddenly they're gone.
Yeah.
Like the Replacements. So they played a festival here in Tempe, okay? And it was at like this kind of bigger venue, but then there was this humongous storm that rolled in.
And they played a smaller venue. My friend
Yes.
that. He drove from LA and somehow went to the smaller venue.
Yes. They played like this little theater, and it wasn't, I guess, widely announced that this had happened.
Yeah.
And motherfucker. That's one that no. Because I saw the terror in the skies. And I'm like, there's no way they're going to cancel this. There's no way.
Yeah.
And so I didn't go. And so one of my few regrets in life.
Well, that reminds me of a funny Livid story. So we had a show booked with Judah. Do you guys know that band from Italy?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. From, I think like Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a show booked with Judah at this venue, St. Vitus. You know, it's indoors, so we're not thinking about anything. We roll up to the venue, and there's like a line. We roll up to load in. There's a line wrapped around the block like 10 times. And we're just kind of like, nice, we've made it. People really like Livids. We get in there. Apparently it was like the second year of Riot Fest, and Riot Fest would do a New York show. Like, this is when Riot Fest was a lot smaller than Riot Fest now, which is, I don't know, rivaling like Coachella. It's huge.
Yeah.
So the bands were Descendants, Hot Water Music, and the Bronx. And we get there, we're loading in, they're like, Riot Fest got rained out. Descendants are gonna play and Hot Water Music, and then your show's gonna happen.
Oh.
We're like, okay. So this venue is super small. It's like 200 capacity. It was nuts. So Hot Water Music plays, and people are like, it's so hot in there. It's like summer, and there's a million people in there. They play, then Descendants play, and there's even more people in there. Just like, you know, people are just going nuts. I had a beer with Milo. That was really weird. He was like,
Nice.
I was like, oh, you drink beer? Cool, me too. And like, beer. And then our show started, and it was just a mass exodus. Like, everyone.
What
We basically played for our, you know, the other bands played for themselves. Judah was great. We played with them another time after that, but we played for nobody. Everyone left.
You know, that happens a lot here. But
Yeah.
the odd thing is, it's the opposite. First of all, if any of those people would have come, if they would have stayed for you guys, it's like it's right up that same alley.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
what the hell is wrong with me? Yeah. So here, just another quick example, just the one that comes to mind. I know it's happened dozens of times, but there was a band from here called the Mob 40s. I don't know if they played in New York.
Vaguely familiar.
But anyway, I was not a fan.
What kind of music were they?
It was like really shitty street punk. Like really uninspired, like just shit. I'm sorry.
I do like street punk, but really shitty street punk, I know exactly what you're talking about, and that's
so
it's really bad.
Yeah. So those guys opened up for the US Bombs, who it was the Garibaldi Guard tour, the Garibaldi Guard lineup.
Oh, so that's like in the 90s.
Like peak US Bomb, like pre-Dwayne going full on batshit. But yeah, so US Bombs were headlining, and the place was packed. I mean, like fucking packed. And Mob 40s go up there and do what they do, and then they finish, and mass exodus. And it's like, really? Because US Bombs at that time were, you know,
like
twice the band.
And touring and doing all sorts of stuff.
What's that?
They were like on Epitaph and touring.
This was, I think this might have been, was this?
Oh, it's before Epitaph. You said
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you guys would have just stayed, which leads to the question, why are people really there? Is it to experience music, or is it just to just hang out with the pals or whatever?
That is
the cool bands.
That is a really, really good question. Why people are actually there, and to your point, like why someone would leave when the big headliner like comes on. I don't know. I've been trying to figure that out for decades at this point. I don't know. I think they're just there to hang out. I don't think most people are there to like actually see the band.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I was there's a similar story with the swinging. Like you're talking about the swinging utters earlier.
Yeah,
Same thing, you know.
I
Crappy local bands open. I don't know.
Mass Exodus.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've played a bunch of shows with Swingin' Utters, and I played a lot of them in their home turf of like San Francisco or Santa Cruz, and it's just mobbed. Like they are the biggest band. But then
Oh,
I've
it's
seen Swingin' Utters in New York. They are not the biggest band. It's rough.
Yeah.
It's really rough.
Yeah. Yeah. I met Jack. I don't know if I pronounced his last name right. Jack Darlimple from
Yeah.
Toy Guitar, and he plays the Swinging Utters. And Toy Guitar played a little venue here, and I was talking to him for a little while, and
I think he's from Arizona, by the way.
yeah, he is. He's from Mesa.
Yeah.
Yeah, he grew up here. But yeah, I was talking to him a little bit about this time when I saw Swinging Utters, and like you were saying, there's hardly anyone there, and John Bonnell was so drunk, he was really pissed at us because first of all, there's only like, gosh, I want to say maybe 20, 30 people there,
Uh-huh.
and he got really pissed because he was really drunk, and he got pissed that we weren't like dancing, and he took his shoe off and he threw it at us. And I told Jack, I'm like,
nice person. It's like I've never seen him that drunk, but I mean, look, if you get that drunk, you do things like that. But,
yeah, I'll probably cut this out. But yeah, I was telling Jack about that, and he's like, yeah, that sounds like him.
I have a story about Jack. I very briefly, I was in that band Revolt with Spike Slauson, and Jack was in that band.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think.
Yeah. So I know Jack, and we played, and when we finished the tour, Jack was like, his now ex-wife is a tattoo artist, and he was like, "You've got to get a Revolts tattoo." And I was like, "You're right."
No, I don't.
I do. So I got this finger tattoo here.
Oh.
And I got like
Wow.
11 years ago. But, yeah, I got. Everyone sees this and it's like, "What the hell is that?" And I don't even know where to begin. But that was actually a really fun tour. It was Revolts and Cute Lepers. I love the Briefs. I like Cute Lepers a lot. So it was very fun. And Jack and I hung out a lot on that tour.
He seemed like a really nice, like down to earth dude when he was here.
He is. I love One Man Army.
Yeah.
I like Dead to Me. Revolts are great. Jack's awesome. He's a good guitar player, good person, and yeah, it was cool to hang out with him and be on the same stage with him.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, well, hey man. What did I interrupt you?
No, you didn't.
I was just gonna say, what as we wind things down, I know you were kind of pressed for time.
I'm not. I'm good on time.
Oh, okay. But anyway, so my next question was going to be, what or where are the best places for people to listen to your music, buy your records, get those really cool Harvey Keitel t-shirts?
You like those?
Oh, dude, yes.
All right, Jay, I'm
Very
gonna
much.
send you one.
Oh, dude, okay. Well,
I'm gonna send you one.
Awesome, man.
And Josh, if you want to send it to you.
Awesome.
Yeah, our Bandcamp, the Moral Panic NYC Bandcamp, is probably the best place to go. I mean, I'm unfortunately just a terrible promoter, but I have that role of being the promoter. Yeah, the Moral Panic NYC Bandcamp, our Instagram page has a link to that, I believe. I feel like nobody looks at Facebook band pages anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, that's probably the best place to go. And we also have a Suburbia shirt, which is just as cool.
Oh, really?
Harvey
Oh, I
Keitel.
haven't seen that.
Yeah, we've got a Suburbia one. And if you look really close, my face is on one of the people. It's like the cover of all the punks walking down the street.
Uh
And if you look really close, you might recognize a face.
huh. That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool, man. Well, you know what? I want to just say something about how you were saying Facebook. Nobody looks at Facebook band pages anymore. I think there's a reason for that. So, like when I used to do audio ammunition, I used to do a lot of the Facebook, like the social media promotion on like our interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
And we were at that time when they started basically charging to show more people the fucking post.
Right.
And we had like, X amount of followers, and they're like, oh, a fraction of those followers saw this post to up the I don't know what the exact terminology was, but basically to boost the post so more of your followers will see it, pay $20 to boost it even more, pay $50 to boost it even. I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Like we actually, Moral Panic we have our first club show in like 5 months. Monday, we're playing this band Spiritual Cramp. I posted on Facebook and they put me through that rigmarole of like $20. Jay and Josh might see this. $50.
Yeah.
Jay and Josh and their friends might see it. And yeah, it's like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Instagram is just like way better for band promotion. I'm also like, I'm just not that savvy. I wish I was. I'm not there. It's funny. I see a lot of bands who are really savvy, and then I go to their shows. Nobody's there. It's like, I don't know what to do.
It seems like despite all the social media and all, it seems like to me, promoting like grassroots is still the most effective.
I think you're right. I think you're totally right. Like just getting out like flyers and just kind of getting in the trenches, because I really do. I see these bands who will promote a show and they'll get like 300 likes. And then I go to the show and there's 3 people there. It's it's strange. But I think you're right. I think you really do have to like kind of get out there and put flyers out, make real life connections.
Yeah.
Do stuff. Of course, bigger bands, they can put out posts and people see them, but yeah, it's you can't just rely on social media. I don't think.
Yeah. And I think bigger bands probably can afford to pay all those boosting fees.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they can afford to have like a social media manager.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the bands that I play with, it's, I don't know, it's the bass player who's doing all this. And yeah, you can like be annoying and get likes and stuff, but actually getting people in there is it's not that easy.
Yeah. I totally agree, man. I mean, having, social media coordinators and all that. But yeah, if you're not, I don't know, man. I guess if you don't know how to like work the algorithms, maybe, I don't know. Cause
Brave new world.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a way to work them. I think you pretty much at this point just have to pay for them.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right.
Which you can do if you are a big band.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe mention like something, I don't know, throw some controversy in the post, and then it'll, you know.
Well, then they'll just block me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I'm canceled or something. No, I keep it very, very light.
Yeah. No,
I
man.
mean, Instagram is the way to go.
I think so too. It seems that way. Like Facebook, I just don't even see the bands that we're kind of like peers with even posting on there. Frankly, I don't really see anyone other than my elderly parents and uncles and distant cousins posting on Facebook.
And me and Josh.
Yeah, you guys. I mean, I don't really even use it anymore other than like Messenger is
Yeah.
great.
That's like primarily the reason why I keep it, is because I got my contact list on that is, you know.
Yeah, no, Messenger is great, but I have nothing to post. I don't give a shit. Like I don't need to repost anything. No one's looking anyways, so
I actually go on there just to see the posts from bands I like or bands that I think I would like. In the rare case that the algorithms allow me to see the posts, that's pretty much why I'm on the Facebook.
Do they like allow you to see it? Like, do you when you go on and you see your feed, the bands you like, are you seeing anything? What are you
Yes,
seeing?
but it's
You are.
always random. Like one day it'll be this band, and I haven't seen one of their posts in 5 years.
Yeah, it was a
then I'll-
5-year-old post.
Then I'll see this band like, when did I even like that page?
Who are they?
Yeah, who is that band?
That's funny.
It's so weird.
Sometimes though, the thing I kind of like is the creating of the event. Like when, like, you know, if so-and-so's coming to town, you know, and you're like, oh, I want to go to that because it'll add to my calendar and I'll remember that they're
Right.
playing, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll make sure to go to this, or I'll remember to go to this. But
I think also like a lot of bands within our world, they put those events out and like they don't get a lot of RSVPs, so they've just kind of stopped doing it. It's better just like put it out there and not be like, all right, well, Daniel, Jay, and Josh have RSVP'd. I mean, I'm talking about for like, you know, bar shows and stuff. I don't see any bands doing that anymore.
yeah,
I think it's for that reason. Because it's not
Probably.
very enticing where it's like, oh, cool, there's a show today. Like, all right, 3 people are going. Maybe I'll do something else.
well, it's weird because like that chat show I was telling you about, couple. So I RSVP'd or whatever, and
Yeah.
and then I kept, you know, I was looking, I'm like, gosh, there's not that many people going, but like the day before it sold out. So again, you know, it's totally inaccurate.
Yeah, it is. It is totally inaccurate. And also, I think part of that is just no one's on Facebook or speaking shows.
Yeah. Josh, maybe we ought to think about making the switch to Instagram.
I'm thinking maybe there could be a Born Too Late presence on Instagram.
Okay.
Oh, do it. No, you guys totally should. I think more people will be looking at it on Instagram.
Because right now we have no social media. We have
Yeah, we
nothing.
just don't bother with it. Other than on our personal pages.
Oh, I hope you guys do Instagram. I think a lot more people would be seeing that than Facebook.
Yeah.
And also, like all the bands that you guys talk with, they're gonna add you. They're gonna promote you. Like I'm gonna promote you guys. You know, our very few people that follow Moral Panic. But yeah,
Amen. Grassroots.
amen.
It's always been grassroots.
Amen.
Yeah. Well, hey, let me do our little outro spiel here, and then I'll just stop recording, and then we can get to the actual questions. So I want to thank Daniel Kelley once again of Moral Panic for stopping by and chatting with us. And thank you, the listener, so very much for tuning into our humble broadcast. If you like what you heard, please hit that subscribe button. And if possible, leave us a review of the podcast. Not only does it help our show, of course, but it helps spread the word on all the amazing folks we have on our program. So once again, this is Jay and Josh of the Born Too Late podcast signing off.